Hey, good evening, everyone. Today is Monday, April 3rd. My name is Tyler. I serve on staff at Northwest Hills UMC as the Director of Youth and Digital Ministry, and I welcome you to this video, another in our series of Lenten reflections for the year 2023. I feel like every time I say the year, I have to kind of pause in my head and think about it and make sure that it's right. And I don't know if that's because I'm getting older and 2023 sounds like a fake made up year that can't exist, or if it's because COVID just completely wrecked my understanding of what year it is. But nevertheless, I do find that happens every time I sit down to make one of these videos. Now, you should know that I'm going to have a couple of videos coming down the pipe for you this week as we have made our way into Holy Week and we are approaching the end of our Lenten season and journey together in Easter. And with this video, I wanted to acknowledge that if you are someone who will be participating in worship services with us this week, whether at Maundy Thursday, foot washing at 6, and a service of Holy Communion at 6:30, or Good Friday at 6:30 as well, Holy Week can be a time that for us as a people of faith starts to feel a little dark as we contemplate the depth of Jesus' love and the depth of Jesus' passion. And while that's all very valid and good and true, I wanted to spend this first video of Holy Week instead looking at something that I think is also really pivotal to the Lenten and Easter season, and that is hope. So during the Lenten season, we often look inward and we focus on things like repentance and self-examination and self-reflection. But as our interwoven Lenten expeditions rapidly careen toward their conclusions, it's important that we not lose sight of the hope that is present throughout this time of feasting and fasting in the promise of Easter. Now, hope isn't just this abstract feeling or idea, right? I sometimes feel like when I'm going through something really intense, people are like, just have hope, right? It's like, what does that even mean? Hope isn't this abstract feeling or idea. It's not just this ambiguous sort of emotion or desire that we can cling to when things get really dark in our lives. But rather, hope is a very real and tangible force with the power to transform our lives. And I want to look at that transformative power of hope with a reading from Luke chapter 8. Our story picks up in the middle of the action. Jesus is on his way to the home of a rather powerful man, a leader of the synagogue named Jairus, whose 12-year-old daughter, his only child, is dying. In a show of great faith, and perhaps too great desperation, Jairus has fallen at Jesus' feet and begged the great healer to save his daughter. And as Jesus is making his way to Jairus' home to fulfill that request, this happens. As he went, it says, the crowds pressed in on him. And I want you to imagine that feeling of being in a crowd and that crowd pressing in on you. As he went, the crowds pressed in on him. Now there was a woman who had been suffering from hemorrhages for 12 years. And though she had spent all of the money that she had on physicians, no one could cure her. She came up behind him and touched the fringes of his clothes, and immediately her hemorrhage stopped. Then Jesus asked, "Who touched me?" When all denied it, Peter said, "Master, the crowds surround you and press in on you." Right here, Peter's like, dude, I don't know, everyone's touching you. But Jesus said, "Someone touched me, for I noticed that power had gone out from me." When the woman saw that she could not remain hidden, she came trembling, and falling down before him, she declared in the presence of all of the people why she had touched him, and how she had immediately been healed. Jesus said to her, "Daughter, your faith has made you well. Go in peace." These are some holy words for holy people. Thanks be to God. Now, I don't want to spend our short time together tonight analyzing and dissecting the various social dynamics at play in this story and their significance. But rather, in light of our own Lenten journeys, I'd like to invite us to reflect on the abundance of faith and the audacity of hope that this woman displays as she fights the press of the crowd and claims her own healing. After spending 12 years suffering, 12 years in pain, 12 years an outcast, she looked at Jesus and saw the promise of resurrection. She saw for herself a new life. In the person of Christ, this woman found hope. And I can't imagine that her pilgrimage to Jesus was an easy one. And I hope that perhaps as you imagine the press of that crowd and what it must have been like to fight your way through it, maybe you can see something of yourself in the image of her struggle and her persistence as you reflect on your own time of feasting and fasting these last 5+ weeks. Perhaps it hasn't always been an easy pilgrimage for you either. But this season of Lent is many things. But for me, mainly, it offers a chance to refocus, to reorganize my principles, to reassess the way that I spend my time, to recognize anew my own need for God, my own need for change, my own need for healing, and to fight through the proverbial crowd to grasp it. And as we enter into the home stretch of our Lenten journey, may we as one people look toward Easter and rejoice in the promise of resurrection, whatever this season and whatever this time has looked like for you. Whatever seeds you've seen planted in your life that maybe have even grown to fruit that you have enjoyed. Whatever struggles you've faced. Whatever crowds you've had to fight through. When this video ends in just a moment, may we together reflect on the gifts that this season has given us. And may we together give thanks to God for this promise of new life that is right in front of us. Friends, I'll see you tomorrow. Well, maybe not tomorrow, maybe Wednesday, but I'll see you soon.